Today I'm riding my own bike and it's fitted with the Mahle X35 Plus e-bike system. This system, even though it's still in production and being sold, is getting a bit long on the tooth, which is probably why Mahle, about a year ago, released an updated system called the X20. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of riding a bike that was fitted with an X20 system. Now, although there are some technical differences between the X35 and the X20 systems, I'm going to concentrate mainly on what it's like to ride those bikes. What do those motors feel like? Obviously, I may refer to some of the technical differences in order to explain those different ride feels. Enough preamble. Let's talk about what those systems are like to ride.
Oh, maybe not quite enough preamble. Some of you may know that Mahle have recently released the X30 system. I'll talk about that in a future video. Both of these Mahle e-bike systems are rear hub based. That's the X35 shown here, and the newer X20 seen here. Because the motors are located in the rear wheel, as you slow down, the motor slows down. The upshot of this is that at lower speeds you get less power, and therefore you need to go at a reasonable speed before the motor really starts to kick in. And I'll discuss that a bit further in the next sections. Just to be clear, these Mahle systems are designed to assist the rider. They provide a relatively low level of assistance. Both the X35 system and the X20 have the same peak power, a legal maximum of 250 watts. Hence, it's not surprising that when riding both of the systems at full power, I didn't really notice any difference in the level of assistance that the X35 or the X20 gave. They were pretty much the same. Despite having the same nominal power, the X20 system has a higher rated torque of 55 Newton meters as opposed to 40 Newton meters on the X35. Let's see if this additional torque improves the rider experience. In a power limited system, the only way additional torque can express itself is at lower rotational speeds. Therefore, you would expect a higher torque system to have better assistance at lower speeds. I haven't been able to find any reliable data regarding the torque of the two different motors, so I will just discuss this from a ride feel perspective. On my X35 system, the assistance that you get below about 8 kilometers an hour is minimal. Above 8 kilometers an hour, the assistance tends to build and it reaches a maximum at about 14 kilometers an hour. With the X20 system, the assistance at slow speed was minimal. At the intermediate speed, say between 8 and 14 kilometers an hour, I thought I could detect some slight extra assistance. At higher speeds, where it's reaching maximum power, as I discussed earlier, I couldn't really feel any difference. Although the X20 system does in theory offer a higher torque, when riding, the feel to the assistance level was minimal. Both motors cut out at a legal maximum of 25 kilometers an hour. In my experience, the biggest difference between the X35 and the X20 systems is the way that the power is delivered. On my X35 system, there's a 1 to 2 second delay between starting pedaling and the power coming on tap. Also, when that power does come on tap, it's an all or nothing situation. The motor is on or it's off. This doesn't really matter too much in most riding situations. However, if you're, for instance, riding in a group or riding in traffic, it can be a bit annoying. In contrast, the X20 system has a bottom bracket based pedaling torque sensor. This has two effects. First of all, the motor power can be made proportional to the pedalling force, which makes the introduction of the motor power smoother. Secondly, the system can respond much more quickly. There's an imperceptible delay between starting pedalling and the motor power coming in. On both systems, once the rider stopped pedalling, the motor would turn off instantly, and hence there was no power overrun. On my X35 system, the motor assist cuts in and cuts out extremely smoothly. So smoothly you often can't tell that it's cutting in or cutting out. I didn't think that the X20 could be any better, but I was wrong. The smoothness with which the X20 delivers its power takes the X35 smoothness up to another level. The X20 system really does make an e-bike ride and feel like an acoustic bike. Compared to some other e-bikes that I've ridden, both of these motors were extremely quiet. There's no real difference between them. The only perceptible noise is when the motor is at its highest level, and then it's just a slight whir coming from the rear wheel. Noise on these motors is not a problem. Although they're not really ride-feel related, the X20 system does offer some additional benefits over the older system. I'll briefly cover some of these. The automatic motor connection system ringed here makes removal and reinstallation of the rear wheel a lot easier. Improved hardware and software gives you more control over the motor behavior. A larger battery option means you can ride for longer before needing to recharge. There are numerous other improvements and accessories that can give the rider a better experience. However, apart from the larger battery, I don't consider any of these upgrades to be particularly significant. First of all, a bit of context. All of these Mahle X systems are designed as lightweight systems. They're there to give low to moderate levels of assistance to the rider, not replace the rider. So if you're looking for a powerful e-bike, look elsewhere. Undoubtedly, the X20 system is better. However, if you stick with or buy an X35 base system, what will you be losing out on? And will it be worth paying the extra to get the X20 system? Although I only rode the bike with the X20 system on for about an hour, I did push the system, and that, along with quite a lot of reading, means I have a good idea of what the capabilities of the system are. So these are my conclusions. Despite the paper-based performance improvements on the X20 system, I didn't notice any benefits in terms of power or torque, so don't expect it to make you any faster. Despite this, that power was delivered extremely smoothly. If you're riding on your own at relatively constant speeds, it probably won't be of any real benefit. If you're riding in a group or in town where you have to continuously change speed, you will notice the benefit. In those sorts of situations, though, don't expect the noise of the motor to give you away. If you're an endurance rider, the larger internal battery on the newer system could be extremely useful. However, if you're running range extenders, the newer system only has a marginally increased capacity. Finally, there are quite a few nice-to-haves associated with the X20 system. I'll refer you to their website so you can look at those. These are my thoughts on the type of riders that the X35 or the X20 system would be suited to. If you ride on your own over relatively short distances, the X35 system will suit you just fine. If you're on a limited budget, go for the X35. Honestly, you won't be missing out on much. The X20 system is better suited to rides where there are lots of changes of pace, for instance in town or if you ride within a group in a club. You would also benefit from the X20 system if you're an endurance rider. Finally, the X20 system is suited to anybody who just wants the best and is willing to pay for it. Earlier, I mentioned that Mahle had recently released a new X30 system. I think in time it will replace the X35. I won't cover the X30 in this video. I'll save that for a future video. If you want to see that future video, consider subscribing by clicking on the 5-minute velo roundel now, and here are a couple of other videos that you might find interesting. From me, until the next video, it's goodbye.